Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's a video that's been widely circulating within the XRP community in particular of an SEC director, that's him right on the screen there, Gerber Gruel, saying some things that don't really deserve to be uttered in the realm of reality. Let's just say it like that. And attorney Jeremy Hogan had something to say about that. And you know what? Hogan absolutely rips the director's perspective and response when posed a very particular question on stage. Well, technically he was remote, but it was at an event. And he rips it to shreds from a very technical point of view, and it's a delight to see. Especially since, this is the same type of perspective, because he shared it on social media platform X. It's the same type of perspective that you and I, everyone in our community, has come to love from attorney Jeremy Hogan's YouTube channel, which, although it's still live, it's defunct at this point, sadly. I miss seeing new content from him, but I understand that he's made it publicly clear that he is done running the YouTube channel. I get it, it takes a lot of effort and work, but the good news is he is still active on social media, so we are still able to get perspective from him. But I feel bad for all the people who have become such big fans of Jeremy Hogan who aren't on social media platform X, because then you're getting nothing from him anymore. So let me try and help you a little bit here. Provide some that sweet attorney Hogan content. And as I'm reading anything that's a direct quote from him, just pretend that you're hearing his voice instead of mine. It'll be almost the same, right? So anyway, I'm going to share that, and I also have a post from attorney John Deaton on this topic. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And by the way, I'll note, just the headline, I don't feel the need to read this whole story, but I'm just going to say whatever the truth is, although I don't know, the headline doesn't surprise me, and I'm going to guess it won't surprise you either. But take a look at this. SEC's director, and they got a picture of Gerber Gruel here, this is who's being referenced, SEC's director of enforcement now under investigation for corruption. And so again, I'm not going to pretend to know which claims are true and which aren't. It's a little outside the scope of this video, but I wanted to mention and just say I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised to see the headline. That's it. Shout out and credit to 707 Crypto for sharing this video clip. Again, widely circulated at the time I'm recording this video. It had been seen just from him 183,000 times, and other people were reposting it, so wouldn't be surprised if it's literally over 1 million people that have seen it at this point. But he wrote here, director of the SEC was asked, what is the current thinking of the SEC in light of the recent court decision in the SEC v. Ripple case? And he had this convoluted answer, which Attorney Hogan breaks down, and I'm going to share with you exactly what he said. But in a nutshell, he was making this point that, there's not an attorney in the room with you there or out there operating in a professional manner that doesn't know how to apply whether or not something is satisfying the criteria for Howey. That's kind of in a nutshell what he said, and not answering anything specific about Ripple or XRP, and why might he not want to do that? Maybe a touchy subject, because it didn't go so well for those asshats over at the SEC. It's just, they're so disingenuous, and I've highlighted so many things from Gerber Gruel in the past. This is a guy who you can just tell, just for so many reasons, including, because he's not stupid, the illogical, irrational arguments that he makes. It's just like, I don't believe he believes what he's saying here. And the fact that he's saying this and pushing this stuff, it harms people in the real world. If he gets his way, and the SEC, broadly speaking, gets their way, that harms actual people like you and me. And so, being as disgusted by this as the rest of us, Attorney Deaton responded and wrote, oh, how I would love to be on a panel with Gerber Gruel, or speak at a conference while he sat in the audience, preferably next to Gary Gensler. Then they would be forced to listen to something they avoid at all costs, including while testifying under oath. The truth. Now that is spot on. But to break this down, we have Attorney Hogan, and he did a fantastic job here. So check this out. The SEC's pat answer when asked hard questions about crypto regulation is deceptive. It always starts with, the Howey test is clear. It's been the law since 1946. Yes, on your first day of law school, you learn that most legal tests are based on elements, such as is found in the Howey test for whether an asset is sold as a security, e.g., the test for whether you formed a contract with someone requires you look at 3 to 5 elements. And he cited elements on the screen. For the sake of time, I'm not going to read through them, but if you do want to pause right here, feel free to take a look. But this is what he's referencing specifically. But we'll be fine, just even if you don't want to read that, just understanding the concept will be sufficient for the purposes of this video. So then he says, these tests allow, these tests allow for flexibility an approach and are guided by case law that is built around an articulated test. But within these elements are all sorts of room for disagreement and litigation. This is both the key feature and weakness of the common law approach. In the context of a contract dispute or auto accident, the tests work fine, in my opinion. There has been a problem, a dispute that needs to be resolved, and the elements of the legal test provide a framework for an analysis and resolution. This is not the case with crypto. The problem is that the common law framework / analysis, which works good for disputes, is horrible for compliance, especially when dealing with areas where there is little / no case authority. Trying to apply the Howey elements to various crypto projects is a crapshoot. This is where the SEC is disingenuous. When confronted with a nuanced opinion from one judge and the almost opposite opinion from another judge, the SEC can only say, all attorneys know what the elements are, it's clear. That has an element of truth followed by a lot of lie. And that might be my favorite quote out of this whole thread. A lot of lie. And this is what I was referencing just a few minutes ago. So because he was referencing, again, all the attorneys in the room at that conference and everybody else is working in a professional manner in this realm. He's saying that all attorneys know what the elements are. It's clear, right? No, how do you apply it? And how can you say it's clear? In fact, how dare you say it's clear when there are judges that are disputing this? How can you say that with a straight face? And I've always found it absolutely disgusting here. So it's nice to see Attorney Hogan rip this guy to shreds here. With common sense, anyway, Attorney Hogan continues. Yes, any lawyer who reads Howey can rattle off the elements. But applying them to a crypto project with a unique token model is just educated guesswork. And that's where you would hope that the SEC would do its mandated job and interpret the law, make it clear what is allowed. But the guidance from the previous SEC administration was superficial and even contradictory. And this SEC seems to have abdicated the interpretation part of its mandate and instead is focusing on enforcement and how much money it brings in every year per its latest video. Yeah, and that's disgusting. I'm sure some of you saw that as well. What a focus. Look at all this money we're bringing in. We just roll it in the dough. Look at how many banjo bands we got all up in this bitch. These people are disgusting. How dare, is that a metric you should really be focusing on, SEC? My God, what a disgusting organization. And then Attorney Hogan says, for whatever reason, this SEC has decided to only respond how he is clear instead of interpreting the laws for a new technology. This allows, even incentivizes, uneven and capricious enforcement of the laws. And although the test is clear, the application is anything but. It's like you go to the gym and say you want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, and the gym owner gives you a pamphlet outlining how fat is burned and how muscles grow, and then says, good luck. Yes, it's clear how to look like Brad Pitt, but the pamphlet is hardly any help. And by the way, when you fail to look like Brad Pitt later that year, you get kicked out of the gym and sued. And sadly, that's about right. That's definitely about right. I need to watch Fight Club again, side note. I haven't seen that movie in probably over a decade, and it is such a fantastic movie. Anyway, and then he wraps up by saying, and yes, this thread was inspired by me feeling old and soft today. Well, I gotta pause. Jeremy, Jeremy Hogan, nobody here thinks that you're old and soft. We think that you are vibrant and strong. You can quote me on that, damn it. And then he says, excuse me while I go exercise a little. If I stay old and soft, I hope no one sues me. No one here gonna sue you, son. You good, Attorney Hogan. And then somebody asked, Flyeti XRP wrote to Attorney Hogan and said, Jeremy, if you were the reporter / influencer, how would you word the questions to not get the vanilla Howie answer? Because again, that's at the heart of this. That's his effective dodge as far as I see it anyway. And then Attorney Hogan said the following. Hard follow-up questions, but eventually you will get to, I'm not going to talk about any particular asset, which is always what we see from them, right? He says, but the point is to talk about particular assets. Spot on. I know. Attorney Hogan, you need to make videos again. I'm just done. Do it. Oh, man. But I am glad that he's sharing his perspective still on social media, at least, so we've got that. So I'll continue to cover what he shares publicly. But, obviously hitting the nail on the head here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.